Hey guys, Justin here with the garage sale pickups from this last weekend. Now, I had to go out of town on Friday afternoon, so I was not able to hit up the garage sales on Saturday morning. But Dave and I woke up early on Friday morning and we hit up the garage sales in our town. There was only like 5 or 6 of them going on, but on Saturday morning, Dave got up and flew solo to the garage sales, and there was like 25 or 26 sales going on Saturday, so he did a lot of running around. But I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what we picked up on Friday morning at the garage sales, and then I'll cut and I'll have Dave come in and show what he found for us on Saturday. You know, I wasn't there, so I don't feel like I should be the one to show the stuff that Dave found for us on Saturday. So Friday morning, we woke up at like 7:45 and drove over to our first garage sale, and our initial impression was that they were not going to have anything video game related. But I walked over to a table and I managed to spot a Game Boy Color game. It's Scooby-Doo Classic Creep Capers. And I personally didn't want this for my collection. I don't really collect Game Boy Color games. You know, I collect the old gray cartridge, original Game Boy games, and even the black cartridges that came out, in the transition period between the original Game Boy and the Game Boy Color. But these clear Game Boy Color cartridges, not so much. But it was only marked for 10 cents, so for that price, you kind of have to buy it, right? But I had this in my hand, and I looked down, and I could not believe what I saw. One lone Super Nintendo game. And ironically enough, it's a game that I've been looking for a very long time now. So glad to finally have this. I finally found the combination cartridge of Super Mario All-Stars and Super Mario World. And this is just one of those games that, on eBay goes anywhere between $15 to $25. I think it's more at the lower end of that price range right now. But it was, even at that price, I was just never willing to pay that because the only reason I really wanted this game was for collecting purposes. Obviously I already have Super Mario World and Super Mario All-Stars for my Super Nintendo, so the only real reason I needed this game was from a collecting standpoint. And I think this game is actually pretty uncommon. I mean, I know it was a packing game with a later release of the system, and so I never had like a box or anything for it, but for how uncommon this game is, I think what it goes for on eBay, like I said, $15 to $25, is actually pretty low for it. Maybe it's just me though, I don't know. I've just never seen this game in the wild. I don't think I've ever seen anyone pick it up in a video here on YouTube. So it just seems to me it should be worth a little bit more than that. But then again, maybe it's, not worth as much just because it's a compilation of 2 extremely common games, Obviously Super Mario World, one of the most common games for the system, and then Super Mario All-Stars, another very common game, and which was even a compilation in itself of, Mario Bros. 1, 2, 3 and the Lost Levels for the original Nintendo. Mario Bros. 1, 2, 3 are extremely common, and I guess the Lost Levels really doesn't count. So it's kind of a compilation of a compilation. But very, very happy to finally find this. And I got this for 25 cents. 1/4 for this game. So for 35 cents I got this and the Game Boy Color game. Walked away from that sale a happy guy. It was just totally random, Obviously we asked if they had any more video games, any more Super Nintendo games, and they said no, that was all that they had as far as video games went. So extremely random, but very, very happy to have that. So we were on our way to our next sale, and we saw a sign for a sale that wasn't even on our list to go to, but we figured we'd stop anyway. So we turned down that street and pulled up to the sale, and it was actually 2 separate sales right across the street from each other. One of them didn't have anything at all, and the other one was just like a real small one-room garage. And we walked in there, and the only thing initially we found that was video game related was Jet Moto for the PS1. It's actually just the manual and the back case. There's no disc in there. So I was going to see if I could actually just get this for free. So if I ever pick up a disc-only copy of the game, I could switch out the case and have the manual and the artwork. But I had this in my hand. I was looking through some DVDs and stuff, and Dave said, "Hey, get back here." And it turns out there was a whole back room to this garage that we didn't even see at first. And in this room, in the very back of this back room, on a table was a box of N64 stuff and a box of PlayStation 1 stuff. Now, as you guys can probably see here, both of the boxes on the back of them, they had $25 or best offer each for the boxes. And we were one of the earlier people at this garage sale, so we figured they were probably going to be wanting pretty close to that $25 for each of them, which for the N64 box, after we started looking through the games, was not a problem at all. I mean, there's a couple of games in here that are worth $20, $25 alone, so that was not a problem at all. The PS1 box, however, not so much. 25 bucks. I've already got more PS1 systems than I know what to do with. A lot of the games that came in here are greatest hits, or I already had them, and a couple of the one of the controllers is pretty beat up. So $25 for that wasn't going to happen. So what we did was we took the N64 box up to the lady that was selling it, and we said, hey, you know, would you take $20 for this box? And she said that was fine. And as I'm taking the money out to pay for it, I said, hey, you know, you got that PlayStation 1 box in the back there as well. I'll throw in another $15 for that box, and you know, for $35, we'll take everything off your hands. And she thought about it for a second, and she said that was fine. So I'll show you guys the N64 stuff we got first. Keep in mind this was all $20 for this box here. And here's the system here, which fortunately does have the expansion pack. So obviously that was a huge bonus there. The system's in great condition as well. Reset button is not stuck. And that came with 2 original first-party controllers here. One of which, though, I think it's this one here, I can tell right now is not going to work. We haven't tested it yet, but it was coming apart at the top, it's coming apart at the bottom. The joystick is clearly out of place with the rest of the controller. It's really stuck. You know, I did take it apart to try and fix it, but someone had already taken it apart and screwed everything up inside. So hopeless for that controller, but this one, however, does look like it should work fine. The joystick is it's pretty tight. It's not brand new, but it feels like it should work just fine. And then, of course, you got both of the adapters here. Actually, there was an adapter that came in this that is completely random. Obviously, doesn't go to a system. It's got like a headphone jack on the end of it, and it ends in the you know, the 3-color AV cables there. But I don't know what that cord is for. But anyway, we got a memory card here, performance third-party memory card, and then kind of random was the well, half of the Hey You Pikachu microphone adapter. So this is the part that plugs into the system, but it didn't have the you're supposed to plug the microphone into the front of it there, which did not come with this. And Hey You Pikachu did not come with this, so I don't know what happened to the game, but we got that. And the only box game that came in this lot was NASCAR 2000. It is complete inside of there with the manual and everything. And then for the games, we got Pokemon Snap, probably our 9th copy of this we've come across recently. As with this one, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, another extremely, extremely common game. We got Namco Museum 64 here, which I think is actually the only game in this box that I did not already have. And I think Dave already has this one, so this might be the one I get to keep out of here. And probably the winner of the bunch was Super Smash Bros. And we got 2 copies of Pokemon Stadium 1, another game we've been running into quite frequently lately. But that's okay because we got a copy of Pokemon Stadium 2 as well. And Yoshi's Story here, another pretty good title. It is the Player's Choice Edition, but whatever. And absolutely awful game, Superman. And Jet Force Gemini here, which I did not think this game was that common, but this is another one of those games that we've just been running into everywhere lately. South Park, another terrible, terrible game. And then finally, a game without a label. But as you guys can probably see, the cartridge is gold, and it is in fact Majora's Mask. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the label, so it wasn't the hologram label. It was the other one, but unfortunately the label was ripped off. But I did plug this into my system, and it is Majora's Mask. So that whole box there for $20. Obviously an excellent deal. Like I said, a couple of those games, Smash Bros, Pokemon Stadium 2, those are worth $20, $25 alone. So very, very happy with that deal. Now on to the PS1 stuff here, and just keep in mind this was all $15 for this box here. We got the system here. It's got a first-party memory card inside of it here, and two DualShock controllers. I did test the system. The system does work. One of the controllers, this one here, works fine. This controller, however, is pretty beat up. The rubber on the joystick is worn off. There's something definitely rattling around in there, and a couple of the buttons didn't work, so that's unfortunate. But we got one working controller for it, and then both the adapters are tangled in there. Now, these first 5 games I'll show here are the ones that I will be keeping for my collection. And we got Tarzan, Swagman, and funny enough, the day before we got this stuff here, I was at my local Goodwill, and they had gotten a couple of PlayStation 1 games in, and I honestly had this game in my hand at the register, and was about to buy it, and I passed on it. And the reason was I looked inside to check, make sure the disc was in there. It had a video rental sticker around the center of the disc there. The disc was pretty scratched, so I just flat out passed on this. They were going to charge $2.99. I think I got like Rampage for the PS1. I was willing to pay $2.99 for that, but not for the condition that this game was in. But I'm glad I waited, because the next day came across it at the garage sale in much better condition. We got Miss Pac-Man Maze Madness. And a game that I've never even heard of before. It's a board game Top Shop. I'm thinking this might be a bunch of different board games. I don't know if they're well-known board games or they're made-up board games or what. This kind of threw me off though, because it doesn't look like a PlayStation 1 game. Like the spine here doesn't have the black PS1 on it, but it just kind of threw me off. But it is a PS1 game. So, and then NHL 2000. Now the rest of these games in here are either greatest hits games, which I don't really collect, or I already had them, but there's a couple cool ones in here anyway. Tomb Raider 1, Tomb Raider 2, Tomb Raider The Last Revelation, Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase, Sledstorm, Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back, and finally Crash Team Racing. So that whole box of PS1 stuff for $15, $35 total for both systems. I thought that was a pretty good deal. The PS1 stuff wasn't as great of a deal as the N64 stuff, but I got 5 games to add to my collection, plus an extra system, find something to do with, and a couple decent games in here anyway. So that was all that we found on Friday. Like I said, I will cut, and I'll have Dave come in and show you what he picked up for us on Saturday. So stay tuned for that.
Hey guys, Dave here. Justin went out of town on Saturday, so I had to go out by myself. It was very difficult getting up at 7 o'clock by myself. But I went out and there were so many sales, so Justin and I printed out a list and I had all the checkpoints and the route listed. And right off the bat, I passed a garage sale that wasn't even on the list, and I stopped at it. And it was around 7:45 in the morning, and I walked up there, and instantly caught my eye was this. It is a Halo 3 helmet that came in the box set. For the collector's edition, it was like the $130, I think, new when it came out, and I'm a huge Halo fan. You guys know that Ryan, Justin, and I don't play modern games really. If we do, it's Smash Bros. When we're all hanging around. But I actually played a lot of Halo 3, Halo 2, and Halo Reach. I have a couple friends of mine that we've traveled and we've done tournaments and such like that, and that's really the only modern game I play. If you want to add me, if any of you do have Xbox Live, my gamertag is yooperlad, which will be listed in the description below. So if any of you guys ever want to play, that'll be there. So I continued on, and in the description, in the garage sales, one of the sales says Game Boys. And that was my first priority because it was the only sale that listed anything that had video game related stuff, and went directly there. When I got there, they had 2 different systems. The first one I'll show you is an original Game Boy. Now this one was pretty beat up and was only marked for $5 on it, so it came with games, so it was alone worth the deal. But it's really beat up looking. I haven't tested it yet, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't work. It came with 7 games though. I think it's 7 at least. The first one is Dr. Mario. The second one is a black cartridge, A Bug's Life. Solar Striker. Donkey Kong. Kirby's Dream Land. I don't know if you can see that through the case. Super Mario World 2. And actually the same exact game Justin picked up at the sale the morning before was Scooby-Doo. And I looked around the sale more to see if there's a Game Boy Color, because this was the only Game Boy Color game, and I couldn't find anything, so I figured they weren't selling it as much. But that itself was only listed as $5, and I got these both in a package deal. Now, this one is a Game Boy Advance, and this was just loaded with stuff. It came in a nice, like, Nintendo carrying case bag, and it's just a, normal system. It has no battery pack in the back, and there was 2 batteries inside, so I don't know how long they were sitting there. But the system came with at least 26 games, and most of these games are pretty good. There's a couple sports titles in there, but I will start showing you. Madden 2003, Shrek Hassle in the Castle, Game & Watch Gallery 4, 007 Everything or Nothing, Star Wars Jedi Power Battles, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, SpongeBob SquarePants Revenge of the Flying Dutchman, Lego Bionicle, Namco Museum, All-Star Baseball 2003, Harry Potter, Mario Golf Advanced Tour, Backyard Baseball, NHL 2002, Lord of the Rings Return of the King, Backyard Hockey, Star Wars The New Droid Army, Lord of the Rings Two Towers, Robots, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Star Wars Episode 2, Sega Arcade Challenge, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, Super Mario Advance, Lego Racers 2, and Super Mario Super Circuit, or Mario Kart Super Circuit. Now these two together, they had 20 listed on the Game Boy Advance with all the games, and there was 26 games here, so the games alone would have been worth it. But I got the original Game Boy and the Game Boy Advance both for $20. She wasn't really budging much. I tried to get $15 for both of them, but $5 off, I suppose it'll work. And now, the rest of the day, there was absolutely nothing at all the garage sales. Near the end of the day, I did come up and I saw a slim PS1 with a bunch of greatest hits games and a couple sports games, and they were asking $20 for it, and it really wasn't worth it. Like Justin said, we have tons of PS1s laying around, so we don't even know what to do with them. Justin had all the games already, so it wasn't worth buying. But out of 20 sales or so, I really didn't get that much stuff that I thought I would, and yesterday we even got more stuff with the 6 sales we had. But at the end of the day, there was a garage sale that was actually held in someone's home, and it was a moving sale. You'd walk in, and there was just stuff everywhere with just tags on it, and you had to just go up and make an offer. And I really didn't find anything in the upstairs, so I went downstairs, and there wasn't much down there. But in a box, in a corner, was a bunch of old electronics, and I started digging through it, and I found this. Now, it's an Atari Touch tablet. I had no idea what it was. Like, I saw Atari, and I saw that it plugged into it has the same controller slot as systems do, and I figured maybe it goes to something. I think Justin found out that it goes to like an Atari computer or something. It's just simply to draw on, so I don't know really what we're gonna do with it, but it was a cool find. It really caught me off guard. I've never seen anything like this. I don't think Justin has either. But after that sale, that was really all I purchased that day. I think that was it, and I guess that's our pickup videos for this weekend, and take care.